Hey everybody, what is going on? I am excited because September is gone and October is here. Finally! Yay! My favorite time of year. It's fall, it's beautiful outside. The temperature has dropped. Oh, I'm in heaven. I love fall, y'all. Okay, so today on my video, I am going to talk about tips from my trial and error on cooking. I thought this was kind of interesting idea for a video because I know that there's a lot of people out there who are just in the same boat as I am, and yeah, you've had some real flops when it comes to making new recipes and everything. So I thought that I would just throw this out there while I'm on this whole cooking thing going on. Um, I will have some fall and paranormal and Halloween stuff coming up as well, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. If not, I totally understand. It's not everybody's bag. Okay, so my first tip, and there's 5 of them, and if you want to take notes, that's fine. If not, that's fine as well. The first one is to read the whole recipe before you start. We've all gotten halfway through a recipe and we realize we don't have one certain important ingredient. Been there, done that. Plus, a quick read can help you prepare for what's ahead, especially if there's any techniques which you are not familiar with. This has happened to me, y'all, a million times. Like, I see a list of ingredients on a recipe and I'm like, oh, I can totally do this. And then as I start to read through how to combine everything, you got to have like a certain tool, and I'm like, oh crap, like I don't have that. I don't even know where to buy that. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna wing it. And then the recipe doesn't turn out quite like you wanted it to. Happened to me several times. So I have learned to read through the entire thing before jumping in on that. Also, use butter at the right temperature. That's number 2. I have learned the hard way about butter. So most cake and cookie recipes call for softened butter, which is the right consistency for creaming with sugar. Biscuits and pie pastry recipes call for ice cold butter in order to create the flakiest layers. If your butter isn't the correct temperature, your recipe won't mix up the way it should. And that has happened to me so many times because most of the time I don't pay attention. I just see, butter. Well, I used to just see butter and I would just like cut it up and throw it in and be done with it. But that's no longer the case because I have learned from that. And so I have learned that when I am, looking at the whole recipe, I'm taking in my mind, okay, I need to remember to chill the butter first, or it needs to be at room temperature, or it needs to be melted. Pay very close attention to that because the texture of the butter does play a key role in how your recipe is going to turn out, especially with baked goods like pastries, cakes, etc. The third tip is chill your cookie dough. Now, I know this sounds crazy, and a lot of you are thinking, yeah, I have time to that, or yeah, I'm going to remember that. But it works, you guys. It actually works, and let me tell you why. Okay, so you know how tempting it is to get your cookies in the oven the second that they are done, when you've got them in the dough part and you're just like, okay, yes, they're ready for the oven and then they'll be done and then I can eat them. Chilling the dough can help develop flavors and prevent the cookies from spreading too much. And by spreading, like deflating and like just becoming like this huge round thing that has no fluffiness to it, that doesn't even resemble a cookie anymore. So for me, chilling the cookie dough is important when you're making cookies. And that's just my opinion, mind you. And so number 4, the fourth tip that I have for you is to coat mix-ins with flour. Okay, now let me explain that. If the recipe calls for add-ins like dried fruits, chocolates, or peanuts, you'll often see instructions to toss them in a bit of flour before adding to the batter. And you might think it's a waste because there's flour in the batter, but coating these heavy items, it helps prevent them from sinking to the bottom of the pan. And this extra step will give you even distribution and a prettier result because the mix-ins are not going to be at the very bottom of the cookie or brownie, whatever you're making. It's going to stay at the top, and it's going to give it more of a pop, and your flavor is going to be more evenly distributed that way. And the last one I have, number 5, is to cool cakes completely before frosting. Now, this is a step that I have learned the hard way so many times because I get excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, this cake is done. It smells so good. It looks so good. I'm ready to dive in it. I want to put this frosting on, and then I want to eat it nice and hot and yum, 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 yum. No, it never fails every single time. It crumbles up, it cracks, it's just no good after that. It looks like crap. It looks like a pan of slop. So make sure that you cool them every time before you frost them. Always let your cakes, cupcakes, and cookies cool before frosting them. If they are too warm, the frosting will slide right off the top of your cake, or it will soak inside the cake. I have had both of those things happen to me numerous times. Cooling racks speed up the process. If you don't have one, here's a tip. Take the cover off of your ironing board and use the board as a cooling rack. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who the heck has an ironing board these days, right? Because I don't. So I wouldn't use that, but I saw that tip online and I thought that that was very interesting. And then I remembered, I actually remember my grandma, when I was little, would do that all the time. And she would have more than one ironing board set up. I mean, she would have like at least 2 or 3, especially around holiday time. And her counters were always full of cooling racks, and sometimes she would just set them on the counter to cool and say, you know, those are not ready to eat, do not touch, that sort of thing. But yeah, I remember her kitchen just being full of like cakes and pies and cupcakes and everything for the holiday. So there you have it. So there's 5 tips from me, from trial and error. And if you have some experiences that you would like to leave down in the comment section below to help fellow bakers and cooks out on tips from your trial and errors, it is greatly appreciated. So I'm going to end it now for this video. So this is Miss Letty Doll saying ta-ta for now.